This past season, we saw coaching change, which helped briefly, and then it didn't. We've now seen another coaching change in the offseason, and Dave Tippett acquires a team that he'll probably have the lines in a blender for the most part. So I have not really paid attention to who belongs on what line, because I don't know that it necessarily matters right now. And I say that because the Oilers, in losing out on Draisaitl and Ferland, the free agent market for wingers now, it just continues to deplete. And the Oilers really haven't been in on a lot of these players that they should be. Now, they have cap restraints. I think they would have loved to have gotten rid of Milan Lucic before July 1st, so they could have gone out and been aggressive. And I think that that's going to hamstring Ken Holland for a bit here, but we'll see. Leon Draisaitl, Connor McDavid. That's the brunt of the offense, and that's likely going to stay that way. With Ryan Nugent-Hopkins slotting in as the number 2 center, if you accept that Draisaitl plays on the wing, which he does until he doesn't, and then he's the number 2 center. Nugent-Hopkins drops to number 3, and then the team will struggle, and then Draisaitl goes back onto the wing. Really, in all honesty, they got to figure this out. And adding a center wouldn't be a bad idea either. So the idea being, if Draisaitl's going to be a winger, then add somebody down the middle. Add another center. Add, I don't know, a guy like Kadri would have been nice. I'm sure they would have been on the 10-team no-trade list, of course. The right side looks particularly weak. You've got Alex Chason, who had a career year last year with over 20 goals. Can he do it again? We'll see. And he was brought back. It looks to me like he was brought back because their prime options really weren't there. And his options for making big money probably weren't there either. Zack Kassian, who had an okay season, but he's not a top 6 forward, ideally. Sam Gagner, who was picked up off the scrap heap from Vancouver and had a decent little run at the beginning. Kind of tailed off, but, we'll see how things turn out over a full season. And then they picked up Marcus Granlund in the offseason as a free agent. I like Granlund, but last season in Vancouver, it certainly looked like his offense was gone. So he's had those offensive seasons where he's been pretty darn good. But even at his pretty darn good, it's not that top 6 forward that they need. So you look and you can see like Joachim Nygaard. Maybe he wins a spot and he wins one of those scoring positions. Maybe Kyler Yamamoto comes in this year into the training camp sessions and he's really, really excited and he's really determined. And maybe Yamamoto jumps up onto those top 2 lines and he makes a big difference. And maybe Tyler Benson, just throwing his name out there, ends up being a really big deal for the Oilers. Now, of course, in brackets here we got Jesse Puljujarvi because Puljujarvi's made it clear he wants out of Edmonton. He doesn't want to play there anymore. He's done. He's finished. Done. The Oilers haven't come up with a trade yet. And they're trading from a position of weakness. They're trading from a position of weakness because everybody knows they have to get rid of Puljujarvi. Puljujarvi's stats are low, and Puljujarvi's what they need. He's a young winger with upside. So they're trading what they need at a lower than market value that he would have had at least a year ago if they traded him. It's a bad scene all around. And Gaetan Haas down the middle, maybe he is part of what fixes this. Certainly, they didn't sign him so he would play in the American League. If Haas is able to play and Kyle Brodziak's on the 4th line, you're in good shape. If Brodziak's on the 3rd line, Cave's on the 4th, and Haas needs time in the minors, that's not good. So there's a lot of things that have to happen. Then you got Milan Lucic potentially on the 4th line. Kara potentially on the 2nd line if Nygaard needs 3rd line time. Maybe Nygaard ends up on the 2nd line. There's a lot of maybes here. But they're not maybes out of, hey, this could be fun. They're maybes out of, well, by necessity, they had to do this. And that's usually not a good thing. Again, if Dave Tippett is able to get this team to the playoffs, if the Oilers have this miraculous run this year, Dave Tippett is Coach of the Year. This is not a whole lot different than last summer when we were talking about the Islanders without Tavares. We looked at the lineup and we went, where are the goals going to come from? This blue line looks okay, but this goaltending looks suspicious. And then they proved us wrong. Now, Tippett's able to coach defense. We'll see. The Oilers' blue line, you have Darnell Nurse, Oscar Klefbom. Klefbom's health is going to go a long way to determining how good this blue line is. I am still an Oscar Klefbom fan. I'm still on that bandwagon. But he's had some rough seasons. He's had some injury problems. Adam Larson, I am not as anti-Adam Larson as a lot of other people because he's going to get compared to Taylor Hall for his entire career, which isn't fair either. So, as long as you don't compare Larson to Hall and you're not going, oh, look at what Hall's done in New Jersey, Larson's not bad. He did not have a great year last year either, though. Chris Russell, who, depending on whether you're an advanced stats guy or you're not, you might think he's pretty good or he's garbage, but I've seen both opinions. I don't think he's garbage. But anyways, Matt Benning and Evan Bouchard. Evan Bouchard is the big wild card on the blue line. And here's where things get tricky. So you have a minor league franchise that plays absolutely fantastic and gives Oiler fans hope for the future. And you've got some guys who could push for spots. Cooper Marody, Tyler Benson, Kyler Yamamoto. You've got guys who can do that, and you've got a rookie coming up in Evan Bouchard, who is seen as being this offensive defenseman. I'm not going to say dynamo. I thought about it, and I'm not going to say it. But at least an offensive defenseman that can do stuff that these guys can't do. Now, Klefbom's had that offense before. Could again, has to stay healthy. Darnell Nurse, while the numbers are pretty good for him, I think he's more suited to the defensive side of things, to the physical side of the game, and you pair him with the guy who's kind of pure offense, and I think you got a pretty good pairing. Caleb Jones looked okay at times last year and looked lost at times last year at the NHL level. He played 17 games for the Oilers, had 6 points. He was a -9. Almost everybody was a minus in Edmonton, it would seem. With the Bakersfield Condors, 50 games played, 29 points, and he was a +16. Not that plus minus means a whole lot. Now, I always have to throw that in there, but I use it because it's kind of interesting to look at that. Bakersfield just had a pretty darn good team. So Caleb Jones could come up this year. He had that 17-game stint last year. And Ethan Bear, who kind of seemed ready to break through and then didn't. So we're still kind of waiting on Ethan Bear. And if these three all made the team, then great. Or maybe that's a sign things are bad. And then in net, a lot of this is going to ride on Mike Smith. Mike Smith had a disastrous first half of last season. Well, first third, almost first half of last season. Played pretty well for Calgary after that. Won the starting job going into the playoffs. Was really good during the playoffs. He was not the reason Calgary got eliminated in the first round. But he is 37 years of age, I believe. 37. And Mikko Koskinen is a $4.5 million backup right now. So Smith is making less money than Koskinen, but and I don't think I'm offside with this. I'm betting on Smith getting more games because I think Smith showed in the playoffs this past April that he has still got something to give. So I would not be surprised to see him get the starting job in Edmonton. They may very well think Koskinen's the starter, but once training camp gets going and then you get into the preseason, they may be forced to say, you know what, Smith's the starter. So it's an interesting lineup they've got here. There's some interesting problems that are uniquely Edmonton. The blue line still looks kind of underwhelming, and they need wingers for McDavid. Your best situation is to have Draisaitl as your number 2 center. Nugent Hopkins drops to the number 3 center spot. And to have scoring wingers with both McDavid and Draisaitl. They are both superstars in their own right. Draisaitl is magic. He does not need McDavid for that either. And yet, here we are. And we're looking at the potential for Draisaitl and McDavid being on the same line again. I have no doubt they play together on the power play, and I have no problem with them playing together on the power play. But, at 5-on-5, your most hopeful scenario would be that they're split up. So that a team playing against Edmonton can't just say, all right, if we shut down the McDavid line, we're good. We're probably going to come up with 2 points. Give them 2 scoring lines to worry about. And while I appreciated Kara and Kassian being on McDavid's wing at certain points this past season, it wasn't a disaster in some of those games. He does need to play with more pure talent. Having him with Kara and Kassian means that he'll have some space out there, but neither of these guys are going to score 30 goals. Now, I've said that. Now, Kara will score 30 goals, right? It's going to be an interesting year. So let me know, as an Edmonton fan, how you feel about this upcoming season. Did Bakersfield's run give you more hope for this year with Edmonton, that some of these guys are going to come up and play? Or do you look at the depth chart now and say, you know what, this year could be more of the same? Or does Dave Tippett come in and pull a Barry Trotz? Do we talk next May about what an amazing run Edmonton went on and how Dave Tippett is one of the best coaches in the National Hockey League? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will talk to you again soon.